Hello and welcome to GAA Heroes and Zeros. My name is Ushi McQuarrins and I'm joined, of course, by our resident GAA expert, Mick Corry. Mick, how's things?
All great. How are you?
I'm not so bad now. We had an action-packed weekend, I suppose you could say, of GAA, and we're going to start with a hero. We're going to start with East Cary. They won their first Cary championship in 20 years, but this will be the end of the road for them. Can you expand a little bit?
Yeah, this is the end of the road for them. They're senior football champions for the first time in 20 years. Brilliant for them. Brilliant for a powerhouse like East Cary. But that's where the road ends. Obviously, regional sides can't go forward in the Munster Championship.
Okay.
So it's now Austin Stacks that are going forward as opposed to Dr. Crokes, who were beaten in the final. Okay. Now that's because Austin Stacks won the Cary Club Football Championship back a couple of months ago now. They were actually ended up being defeated in round 2B of the Cary Senior Championship. It's a total minefield.
It's a complicated situation.
It's very complicated. But yeah, so Austin Stacks now, after seemingly being cold for a couple of weeks, now all of a sudden they're playing Nemo Rangers on Saturday, I believe, in the Munster semi-final. So it's going to be difficult for them. But it's East Cary's weekend. They'll be celebrating, and it means they can celebrate a bit more.
And going back to that match, the Clifford Brothers, they impressed you a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, well, obviously David is constantly in the headlines, and we're always talking about him. I believe he's already one of the top 2-3 footballers in the country. Okay. At 20 years old, we've never seen anybody as complete a package as him. He scored 1-3 the other day, 1-2 from play, and his goal was just typical David Clifford screamer. But it was actually his brother Paddy who got man of the match. He was playing centre forward. He only scored 1 point, so that really shows how influential he was in the game. It looks like he's going to be in the Cary senior panel next year now, alongside his brother, and one Clifford is bad enough for the rest of us.
Exactly, and from one set of brothers, I suppose, to another, the Basquels, they impressed with Ballybold and St Enda's. Give me your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, well, Colm and Ryan Basquel have both been in very impressive form all season for Ballyboden. Particularly Colm, who was great the whole way through the Dublin Championship. A bit quiet in the final, but then Ryan stepped up in the final. And so now they're into the Leinster semi-final. They beat Newtown Blues by 9 points on Sunday. Colm finished with 1-4. Ryan was influential. It'd be hard. It's going to be hard to stop them in Leinster this year. Another set of brothers who are just lighting up the club scene.
And what about them for the All-Ireland? Do you feel like they're the favourites right now?
Corfinal definitely have something to say. They're going for 3 in a row. They haven't seemed as dominant, I suppose, as they have done over the last 2 years. But still, they're in a Connacht final next week. They play Padraig Pearses. 2 weeks from now. They play Padraig Pearses, who are in their first Connacht final. Look, they could be on a crash course to meet each other. We don't want to be disrespectful to the other clubs, but they do look like the two strongest at the minute.
It'd be interesting to see if their paths collide, I suppose, as you said. Your final hero, Mick, as well, if you want to expand on it a little bit, is a little bit close at home for you.
Yeah, well, it's not often I give Tyrone compliments.
Today's a special occasion.
Today is that day, yeah. So for those that remember, Conor Mckenna, he was a starlet, really, growing up, an underage star in Tyrone and Ulster in Ireland. But he was earmarked to go straight into the Tyrone senior team, I believe 2013, 2014. Instead, he went to the AFL, and he's been playing with Essendon, who's one of the top Aussie rules clubs out there. He's actually nailed his place down in that team now. He's a starter. He's playing very well. A lot of clips of him doing GAA skills in Aussie rules have went viral. But he came home, and he's home for the off-season just. His club needed him. Eglish, the home of Cormac McAnallen, they were in a relegation final. They needed somebody to spark a bit of life into him. On comes the professional athlete in the second half. He scores a goal. He's a hero of the hour. They remain in Division 1, and it's a great day all round for Eglish.
Yeah, brilliant story, really.
Brilliant
and then moving on to zeros, from one Mckenna as well to another, I suppose. Ewan Mckenna, a resident columnist, he spoke about Mayo and the county board, the debacle that's kind of going on there. Can you just tell us a little bit about what's going on with the Mayo County Board at the moment? Yeah,
well, it started off with the Mayo GAA International Supporters Fund, and they raised $250,000. They're backed by Tim O'Leary, who's a London-born Mayo GAA fanatic. And so there's €250,000 there. It's meant to be a Gleefer Centre of Excellence, as well as a GAA Academy in Mayo. But they're withholding that money until they see proper planning and more transparency.
Right.
This has been going on for months. In the last week, it's really escalated. But it shows us a wider issue that's going on here within county boards. We've seen the same with Supermax and Galway. We've seen it with the Cork County Board, repeatedly. Especially with the new Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's just representing something that it's time for change within the county board structures throughout Ireland. You see Dublin, they have it nailed down. Say what you want about financial doping, but John Costello, he's a CEO and he runs Dublin like a business and it works.
Yeah.
It's not going that way for the rest of Ireland. It's probably about time we start reevaluating how we approach things in the organisation.
Yeah, it's a messy situation. Before we go, Mick, we'll just have a final word. Penalty shootouts, I suppose, in GAA seem to be all the rage over the last couple of weeks. I know there was one in Leinster, one in Ulster. How do you find a penalty shootout as a way to, I suppose, decide a game in GAA?
I love it. I don't see the issue at all. More people seem to be against it than for it, and honestly, Oisin, I can't understand why.
Yeah.
You're a soccer man. If when a big Champions League game, when it goes to extra time, you want extra time just to go without goals, so you can get the penalty shootouts. There's skill involved in it. Do you know what I mean? The goalkeeper has the chance to be the hero. Somebody else has a chance to step up and hit the winning penalty. It's not something we see in Gaelic games. Honestly, I cannot understand why people are against it.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's a cruel way to lose a game, but how is it any more crueler than somebody missing a 14-yard free kick or missing a one-on-one in the last minute or a goalkeeper dropping the ball into the goal? Yeah. It happens all the time. Penalty shootouts, all for them. Keep them going.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they develop, I suppose, in the game in the future. Mick, thanks a million for joining us.
Thank you.
I've been Oisin McQuarrie. This has been GAA Heroes and Zeros, and we'll catch you next week.